So if Brunson makes that three, he sets the single-game record for most points scored by a Knick in a game, and the Knicks win the game. As it is, they end up losing by 2.
Yeah, they were trying to go home because you could see how exhausted they were. And what we witnessed tonight was the present of the Knicks and a great player that they have developed here in Jalen Brunson. And you also witnessed the future of the NBA and Victor Wembanyama with a 40-20 performance for the ages, including a huge three-pointer, a 27-footer with the Knicks just pushing and pushing and pushing, and him pushing back, getting the win for his team. This was a classic second half and on for a Knicks team that did not have a very good first half of this game. They did struggle early on defensively, but they also showed you that resiliency that this Knicks team does, which they will never let go of the rope. They will never give you a game. You're going to have to take it from them. And when Jalen Brunson got cooking in that second half, you had a feeling we were in for a special night, and we certainly were. He didn't get the franchise record, but for him, the bigger deal is that they didn't get the win. That will bother him more than anything else.
Knicks were down by 21 at one point in the first half. Their first lead came with 4 minutes to go, but they end up losing. This is important now, obviously, as we head down the stretch. With the Cavs winning and the Magic losing, here's what we have. The Bucks didn't play tonight. Knicks are 4th. They are now a half game behind the Cavs for 3rd and 2 games behind the Bucks for 2nd. Next game for the Knicks, home Sunday against OKC. Schedule gets tougher a little bit now as the Knicks now complete this stretch of 4 games against under 500 teams, and they go 3-1. It was almost 4-0 tonight, and it would have been an amazing win, as it was, Allen. It was an amazing game, and the fourth quarter was amazing to watch.
Yes, and where the Knicks just kept pushing. It felt like they just couldn't. They made it close in the third quarter, but they just couldn't get a lead, But they had to keep chipping away. And a young team like the Spurs, they were going to succumb, and Jalen Brunson just was on one. Knocks down that 3. Knicks are down 6. A steal by Deuce McBride and gets the dunk, and now suddenly it's a 4-point game. Knicks just kept pushing. And then you find Dante DiVincenzo, and suddenly it's a 1-point game. And Greg Popovich had to call a timeout. But they had no answers for Brunson. They were trying to throw doubles at him. He was doing a ton of ISO in this game. But Devin Vassell, we talk a lot about Wembanyama. I think Vassell made some huge shots to keep the Knicks at bay, certainly as well. How about leaving DiVincenzo wide open? You ever see a fast break three-pointer? You did right there, and the Knicks took a 113-112 win. Brunson makes it 115-113, and it's just back and forth we go. The Knicks had a 2-point lead, and then there's the moment right here. He's just so tall. Isaiah Hartenstein's a 7-footer, and that made him look small with the tip in to tie it. And then Brunson right here to make it 121-119. Free throws sent us to overtime. And I mean, Bill, overtime, the Knicks really seemed like they ran out of gas at that point. As it just, Brunson here makes this one shot. He ended up making only 2 of his last 9 from the field as they were putting a ton of pressure on him defensively. Watch this shot right here.
That's a key shot in the game right there.
Off one leg, 27-footer and a little shimmy. You got to like that. You got to respect that out of him. The putback here. Look at the battle. Now, you worry about Mitchell Robinson, who was limping on that leg, but he made that play a tough play. And there's Brunson going for the win to just try to steal one and run home. Precious Achiuwa, maybe not realizing time, score, and situation, kicks that out instead of just putting it back up, which would have tied the score.
All right, look at the numbers here. 130 for the Spurs, 126 for the Knicks. Knicks had the best defense so far in the league in March, giving up 95 points per game. And the Spurs obviously went to overtime, but they gave up 130. They scored 126. The way it's been going for the Knicks, when they score 126, they normally win. But Wembanyama was fantastic. He had 40. He had a career high, 40 points, 20 rebounds. He was amazing to watch.
Made big shots, though.
Like, that 3 there, remember, they're up 1.
Yes.
1:12 to go in OT, shot clock ticking down, and he hit that 3 to put them up by 4.
Yeah, a little Dirk-esque kind of 3, too, the way he kind of sat back when he took it. He had plenty of space. He knows he can shoot over anybody you put on him. There's no one as big as him in this league. Chet Holmgren comes close, but not even close when you consider his also high release. So for him, he's not worried about getting a shot blocked. It's all about just getting squared and being in rhythm, and he found his rhythm. He had 4 3-pointers in this game. So it wasn't just him using his size around the basket. It was him also showing off the skill factor that he had in this game as well. Let's also point out he has 7 assists in this game early on, making some great passes. He is just a special player. I have said this before. People think I'm crazy, but I'm not. When you look at him and you look at all the factors of a next face of the NBA, he's got it because he's got the compelling size, something very different about him and his game, but he also has a swagger to him. He's got charisma, and he's somebody that can bring it every single night, and you saw that this season. The fear was he couldn't handle the NBA, the rigors of the travel. He was a 19-year-old skinny kid coming in. Would he be able to? Would he get hurt? He has played. This is his 65th game, so now he's eligible for all postseason awards. Rookie of the Year is a lock. Might as well start carving his name into that trophy right now. He could be all defensive team as well. There's a couple of other things you can consider for him, but he is just showing you late in the season the type of player that everybody projected he could be, the next LeBron kind of impact player for the NBA.
I want to point out, and you mentioned in the highlight that DiVincenzo hit a three. He had enough threes tonight to pass Evan Fournier.
Oh, by the way.
Little secondary storyline here. He's got the most threes by a Knick in a single season as he passes Evan Fournier's mark with his efforts tonight. So Brunson had 21 in the first half. He had 40 in the second half in overtime and 24 those in the third quarter.
And that third quarter is when you kind of had a feeling.
Because that's when the Knicks came back into the game.
Yes, the 21 was sort of like Brunson was the only one really getting anything done offensively. But then that third quarter happened, and you're like, okay, he's on one. And you could see even he was making faces about himself and the shots he was making and the rhythm he was getting into. And what was odd was that the Spurs were playing him one-on-one for the longest time. And he was just taking his one-on-one, knowing there was no matchup he couldn't beat. And there was a time later in that fourth quarter where they were clearing out one side. This was almost like Kobe-esque. In fact,
it was.
You see the 47 field goal attempts? He's the first player since Kobe's last game to take 47
Kobe attempted
attempts.
50 in that last game.
Yes, he took 47. But last night, Dejounte Murray had 44. Brunson here now just 1 point shy of the franchise record. And that three would have given him the franchise record had he knocked it down, trying to go for the win. But what a performance for Jalen Brunson tonight. Just short of trying to get that comeback win.